What's up, guys? It's Teacher Jacob back here with another video. Today's video is going to be a book reading video. This is going to be the same intro that you guys will see on all of the book reading videos. So basically right now, I want you to remind you guys that this is just a reading. You guys don't have to turn anything in. You guys don't have to draw anything if you don't want to. You don't have to write about it. You just have to listen. If you want, the book will be up on the screen so you can follow along. If not, what you can do right now is go grab some blank piece of paper, scratch paper, rip paper. It could have lines on it. It could be the back of some work that you don't need to turn in anymore. Anything. Grab some crayons, some colored pencils, markers, pens, pencils if you only have that, paint if your parents let you. And basically, I want you guys to kind of draw what you guys hear, what I'm reading about. Or if you want, draw about something that you just did the other day. Draw a picture for your parents, draw a picture for your sister, your brother, your friend, your teachers that you miss while I read. But it's kind of something that's just like busy work to do while I read, and a little brain cool down for the tougher subjects like math and writing and science that you guys have to do. This is supposed to be a little fun. But yeah, this will be the same intro for every single video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys do have any pictures, send them in. Take a picture of those pictures and send them into the email down below in the comments or description. Or for my students, it'll be in the instructions tab. I want to see what you guys are drawing, and I'll post them up here for the next readings. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these next readings. Talk to you later. What's up, guys? Today is going to be Thidwick and the Big-Hearted Moose by Dr. Seuss. I had to end it on a classic. If you guys haven't, we just started the Henry and Mudge series, and also we read Danny and the Dinosaur. If you guys want to check those out, the videos will be in my YouTube down in the link, down in the description, or for those that are my students, they will be in the Google Classroom from the day before. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm running out of Dr. Seuss books, so if you guys have any ideas, be sure to drop them down in the comment section or reply back to me. Anything you guys would like to read, like me to read, because yeah, I like reading them. But yeah, so Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose. Written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss. Up at Lake Winnebonga, the far northern shore, lives a huge herd of moose, about 60 or more, and they all go around in a big happy bunch, looking for nice tender moose moss to munch. Up at Lake Winnebonga one day, they were lunching, just strolling along and enjoying their munching, for the moose moss that day was especially fine, when it happened that Thidwick, the last moose in line, saw a bingle bug sitting. The bug called out, "Hey, it's such a long road, and it's such a hot day. Would you mind if I rode on your horns for a way?" "Of course not," smiled Thidwick, the big-hearted moose. "I'm happy my antlers can be of some use. There's room to spare, and I'm happy to share. Be my guest, and I hope you're comfortable there." So the bingle bug picked out a nice easy seat, and the moose went on looking for moose moss to eat. Well, an hour or so later, the bug heard a squeak, and then he heard the small voice of a tree spider speak. "I say," said the spider, "you've got a fine place. That moose seems quite friendly. He has such a nice face. If I got on too, do you think he would mind?" "Hop aboard," laughed the bug, "and I think that you'll find that the moose won't object. He's the big-hearted kind." "I accept," said the spider with joy and delight, and he started a web on the horn to the right. While the spider was spinning, he heard a gay song, and a fresh little zinazoo bird came along. He stopped and he stared and he chirped, "Well, well, well. What a smart place to build, what a great place to dwell. I've been living on trees ever since I was born, but here's something new, why not live on a horn? If there's room there for two, then there's room there for three. There's plenty of room left the bug, and it's free. Thidwick stopped walking. What was all that talking? These guests had caught Thidwick the moose unawares. Hey, he called out, what goes on here? What goes on there upstairs? Just building a nest, sir, the Zinazoo said, and began yanking the hairs out of poor Thidwick's head. And he plucked out exactly 204. Don't worry, he laughed, you can always grow more. Then he dozed off to sleep in his fine moose hair nest. This bird, murmured Thidwick, is sort of a pest. But I'm a good sport, so I'll just let him rest, for a host above all must be nice to his guest. Besides, now, it's getting quite late in the day, and surely tomorrow they'll all go away. But alas, the next morning the sun's early light brought to Thidwick's sad eyes a most unwelcome sight. Meet my wife, said the bird. I was married last night, and perhaps by the way I should mention to you that her uncle is coming to live with us too. You're a very fine host, so I knew you'd be willing. Then the uncle of woodpeckers started in drilling. All Thidwick's friends shouted, get rid of those pests. I would, but I can't, sobbed poor Thidwick, they're guests. Guests indeed, his friends answered, and all of them frowned. If those are your guests, we don't want you around. You can't stay with us, 'cause you're just not our sort. And they all turned their backs and walked off with a snort. Now the big friendless moose walked alone and forlorn, with 4 great big woodpecker holes in his horn. What holes? Whispered Herman, a squirrel who spied 'em. What holes to hide nuts in? Mind if I tried 'em? They're yours, called the woodpecker. Get right inside 'em. This big-hearted moose runs a public hotel. Bring your nuts, bring your wife, bring your children as well. So the whole squirrel family all jumped on pell-mell. And the very next thing the poor animal knew, a bobcat and turtle were living there too. Now what was the big-hearted mouse going to do? Well, what would you do if it happened to you? You couldn't say scat, 'cause that wouldn't be right. You couldn't shout scram, 'cause that isn't polite. A host has to put up with all kinds of pests, for a host above all must be nice to his guests. So you try hard to smile, and you try to look sweet, and you'd go right on looking for moose moss to eat. But now it was winter, and that wasn't easy, for moose moss gets scarce when the weather gets freezy. The food was soon gone on the cold northern shore of Lake Winnebago. There just was no more. And all of Thidwick's friends swam away in a bunch to the south of the lake, where there's moose moss to munch. He watched the herd leaving, and then Thidwick knew he'd start. If he stayed here, he'd have to go too. He stepped in the water, then oh what a fuss. Stop, screamed his guest, you can't do this to us. These horns are our home, and you've no right to take our home to the far distant side of the lake. Be fair, Thidwick begged with the lump in his throat. We're fair, said the bug, we decide this by vote. All those in favor of going say A. All those in favor of staying say nay. A, shouted Thidwick, but when he was done, nay, they all yelled. He lost 11-1. We win, screamed the guest by a very large score, and poor starving Thidwick climbed back on the shore. Then do you know what those pests did? They asked in some more. They asked in a fox who jumped in from the trees. They asked in some mice. Then they asked in some fleas. They asked a big bear in, and then, if you please, came a swarm of 362 bees. Poor Thidwick sat down with a groan to his knees, and then came something that made his heart freeze. Bullets came zinging right past Thidwick's face. Guns were binging all over the place. Get that moose, Thidwick heard a voice call. Fire again, and shoot straight, one and all. We must get his head for the Harvard Club wall. Thidwick took to his heels with that load on his head. With 500 pounds on his horns, the moose fled. He could have run faster without all those pests, but a host above all must be nice to his guests. Up canyon, off cliff, over wild rocky trail, with bullets bouncing around him like hail. up gully through gulch and down slippery sluice with his hard-hearted guest raced a soft-hearted moose. Then finally they had him. Because of those pests he had run out of luck. Because of those guests on his horns he was stuck. He gasped, he felt faint, and the whole world grew fuzzy. Thidwick was finished. Completely, or was he? Finished? Not Thidwick. Decidedly not. It's true he was in a most terrible spot, but now he remembered a thing he'd forgot. A wonderful something that happens each year to the horns of all moose and the horns of all deer. Today was the day thing would happen to know. The old horns come off so that new ones can grow. And he called to his pests on his horns as he threw 'em. You wanted my horns, now you're quite welcome to 'em. Keep 'em, they're yours. As for me, I shall take myself to the far distant side of the lake. And he swarmed Winnebago and found his old bunch, and he arrived just in time for a wonderful lunch at the south of the lake where there's moose mouse to munch. His old horns today are where you knew they would be. His guests are still on them, all stuffed as they should be. And that was Dr. Seuss, Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose. That was a quite long one, so I'm going to end this one with another daily affirmation. But you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Click on the next video right below as I go through the picture, or not click, but watch the next video below as I go through the pictures. And remember, if you have any pictures, send them in to me. Thank you. What's up, guys? It's Teacher Jacob, and this is just the very end. So we went over 3 books today, so you're going to see this closing on each one of those book videos. But for Danny and the Dinosaur, the picture that somebody ended up drawing was this. Let me show you guys. It's upside down. Drew this, and drew this. For Henry and Mudge, she kind of just drew whatever she wanted. And Thidwick and the Big-Hearted Moose, once again, can be anything. This is what I drew. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed those readings, and I'll see you guys next week for the next ones.